So the types of fertilization. There are two types of fertilization based on the sites where the fertilization occurs. The first type of fertilization is called as external fertilization. External fertilization, as the word means itself, external means what? The fertilization occurs outside the body, and we have earlier discussed only the outside of the body means the fertilization demands only the presence of water, the demands only the mean of water, medium of the water. So here outside of the body the fertilization will occur with the help of water only. So in which type of organism it occurs? That is algae, fishes, amphibians. What is the basic need? So this is very important process, and this is very common process. The male has to produce their gamete and will discharge the gamete into the water, and female has to discharge the gamete there into the water too. So but the very important thing, very crucial thing about the external fertilization is the timing of discharging the gametes by both male and female into the water. If the timing of gamete is not synchronized, timing of release of gamete is not synchronized between male and female, so this will be very difficult to get fertilization of the gamete. Because what is the reason behind that? If the timing of the release of the gamete is different, so how or why the fertilization will not get completed? The reason behind that is the synchronization is required, the specific lifespan, specific time period of the gamete. Each and every gamete is having a particular time period on which they can fertilize to each other. Like male gamete has to fertilize in a certain time period to the female gamete, and female gamete is also liable to get fertilized in a certain time period. So if the time period gets over, so that means there is no chances, or there is the failure of fertilization will occur. And second thing, the fertilization, that is external fertilization, is purely a by chance process. We can't say why the by chance process means. We can't say the fertilization, during the fertilization whatever the male gametes are released, they are just going to target to the female gamete, and each and every male gamete is going to fertilize each and every female gamete. Means one more problem is there, when external fertilization is there, so great number of male and female gametes are required, but the male gamete has to travel the journey toward the female gamete. So this is very much required that their number must be more than the female gamete, even though the 1,000 times more there in even though the 1,000 times more than the female gamete. So this is very much clear to you all ki why the suppose any question is there ki why the more number of female, why the more number of male gamete is there in external fertilization required, why the requirement of more number of male gamete is in external fertilization. So you must have the answer. The large number of male gamete enhances the chances of external fertilization. Why enhances the external chances of external fertilization? Even though if a single egg is going to fertilize, so many more number of gametes are available to get it fertilized. So suppose one gamete get failed, another gamete failed, third gamete failed, so any one of the produced gamete may get fertilized to the female gametes. Second thing, if the question is related that even though this is very much beneficial process, very much gametes are produced, male gametes are produced, so what is the disadvantage of the process of external fertilization? So disadvantage of external fertilization is, first one is this is a kind of wasteful process. Why we are just saying that is a wasteful process? Because the more number of male gametes are going to be destroyed or damaged during their journey toward the site of fertilization. They are not going to complete the process of fertilization. Hence many more number of the cells which are going to produce are going to be degenerated during the process of fertilization. This is why this is a kind of wasteful process. Another more important disadvantage, usually this question is again and again is asked there in the CBSE examination, what is the disadvantage of external fertilization? So number one, this is a wasteful process. Why this is considered as the wasteful process? Because the more number of male gametes are going to be digested, more number of male gamete is going to be degenerated, digested, damaged during the process of fertilization. Second, even if the more number of offspring is produced during the external fertilization. Usually this is a common phenomena, ki more number of offsprings are being produced with the external fertilization. I'm just going to point it out. Always more number of offsprings are produced. This is a positive thought, this is a positive aspect, that more number of offsprings are produced with external fertilization. Then too we are showing कि this is a disadvantageous process. So why the more number of offspring is produced? अगर ये question भी आता है तो reason will be there कि the organisms those who are produced in vast number, they are more prone to be damaged, or they are more vulnerable to the damage by the external predation agencies. These predation agencies may get digest them, they may get eat them as per their food item. So this is very much clear to you all. Three questions we have discussed here. Number one, why the more number of male gametes are being produced during the external fertilization? So the reason behind that, more number of male gametes enhances the chances of fertilization. Second thing, key disadvantages is going to be asked. So number one disadvantage is this is a kind of wasteful process. Second one, key even though it produces the more number of offspring, then to why this is disadvantageous? So disadvantageous because the offsprings are more dangerous, or the offsprings are more vulnerable to the predation. Are you getting my point? One more question may be there from the same point or same disadvantage. Why the more number of offspring is being produced there in the external fertilization in comparison to the internal fertilization? Again the answer will be same, since the fertilization occurs there in the external medium, and external medium is considered as unsafe, and always this is vulnerable toward the degradation or decomposition. So this is why this is considered as, or this is required to produce more and more number of offspring in comparison to the internal fertilization. If you have made very much clear about the external fertilization, so internal fertilization is very much easier process. Just vice versa to the external fertilization. Vice versa to the external fertilization means to say the external fertilization occurs outside of the body, and basically they are in the aquatic organisms, but internal fertilization is vice versa, means it occurs inside the body, and basically they are in the terrestrial organisms. What are the organisms where it may occurs? Fungi, reptiles, birds, mammals, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperm and angiosperm. Means what? Whatever the higher organisms, higher mammal, higher vertebrates like reptile, bird, mammals will express the external fertilization. Bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperm and angiosperm will perform the internal fertilization. What is the meaning of internal fertilization? Internal fertilization demands the fusion of gamete inside the body. Inside the body means in a particular structure where the fertilization occurs. That particular structure is called as site of fertilization or fertilization organ. One more thing you have to take care about that, there in external fertilization a great amount of water is available, but there in internal fertilization the body fluid itself serve as a medium to get to complete the fertilization. Second, the sperms get produced in more number here in case of internal fertilization also, but in comparison to the external fertilization, the internal fertilization is having less number of the eggs. Even in many of the cases, like there in humans and other mammals and vertebrates, they produce only a single egg in comparison to the millions of the sperm. Sperms are getting reduced again and again in the number, but single egg is there. So each and every sperm has to come fight with each and other to the other sperm to get fertilized the egg. This is a positive sign of the fertilization, where the healthy and most capable sperm is going to fertilize to the egg. So are you clear with me? Secondly, if the question regarding that ki which one is advantageous, external fertilization or internal fertilization, so definitely the internal fertilization is advantageous than the external fertilization. Why this is so? Because there is more chances or better rate of survival of the organism in comparison to the external fertilization. Why this is so? Because the external fertilization, the development of organisms is also external, where they are just going to develop in the external medium. Always they are just going to be they are just prone toward the damage from the external predation agencies. But in the internal fertilization, the gametes are produced in the the organism produced inside the mother's body, inside the parent's body, which is very much safe from the external vulnerability, external predation, everything. This is completely safe. Secondly, this is well adapted for the survival in comparison to the external organism. So I think you can be able, now you are able to answer any kind of the question related to the fertilization, which one is advantageous, which one is non-advantageous, where the fertilization occur, what kind of the agencies are responsible for the fertilization, why the more offsprings are produced there in external fertilization, why the less offsprings are produced there in internal fertilization, which fertilization is advantageous, which one is non-advantageous, what are the advantages of the external, what are the disadvantages of external fertilization. Similarly, what are the advantages of internal fertilization and what are the disadvantages of internal fertilization. So dear students, till now we have just completed the types of fertilization, mechanism of fertilization, and mechanism of fertilization is different in different type of the organisms, and that will discuss there in the next chapters. Like in chapter 2 we are having reproduction in the flowering plant. There we'll understand how the fertilization occurs in a flowering plant, and finally in the next chapter we'll discuss about the fertilization in the humans, where we'll discuss how the fertilization occurs in the how the fertilization occurs in the human body. Are you clear to are you clear with me all? So this is all about the fertilization, and in the series of events of the sexual reproduction, we have just completed pre-fertilization event, where we have concluded with the gamete transfer, we have concluded with the gametogenesis, and fertilization, the key event, where external and internal fertilization we have completed. Now we are going to proceed toward the post-fertilization event. Post-fertilization event means what will happen after the fertilization gets complete. So is it clear to you all? Always remember, fertilization is going to produce a diploid cell, that is known as what? Zygote. So in the next video we'll just going to understand how the zygote is produced, and zygote is going to develop in form of which embryonic structure, or how it is going to promote the embryonic development. Thank you.